morning, everybody. Man, it's good to be with you as we start a brand new series, Fatal Distractions. Now, if you're like me, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with distractions. Like, there's times where distractions are good because not all distractions are created equal. Right? You may not know this, but not everything's equal. Like, there are times being distracted is really nice. Like at the end of a long work week or a long work day, and you're like, I don't want to have to think about anything meaningful or important. I just want to sit down, have a drink, or five, or just one, right? Just one, okay? It can be a big one, but it's just one, right? But sit down, have a drink, watch some TV, watch a movie, sit by the fire. Like, I don't want to have to think about anything meaningful right now. Like, I just want to, like, chill out and kind of just be distracted. And not like an unhealthy way you're avoiding stuff, but just like, I just want to, like, take a breath, right? Or, like, in other areas where it's good distractions, like movies are great distractions for your kids. Man, summer's out, and already we're one weekend, my wife and I are like, what do we do with these people? Like, why do we keep having them? What is wrong with us? Like, so watch a movie, sure, or even, I know this is like so like, if you don't have kids, but like you see families at restaurants with children and they give the toddler a tablet or a phone. And I know if you don't have kids, you were like, oh, we're never gonna be those people. Say, slow your roll, hot shot, okay? Like, have you had a dinner out with a toddler? It is the worst. I have a toddler. We'll do a background check. You could borrow them if you want to experience this. And even there's times where, like, I want you to distract your kid. Like, if I'm on a date with my wife and we're hanging out and your kid's right there, like, I would donate my phone to you. I don't care if you're, like, trying to be organic, vegan, whatever. Like, give the kid a phone, distract them because I'm trying to enjoy dinner, right? Parents, you get it, right? And there's distractions where it's like, yeah, I love that. But there's also distractions where it's like, man, this is tough. I don't like that. Right? There's stuff in life where, like, you're in a meeting or you're at work and you're doing stuff, and then all of a sudden, like, someone comes in and says, hey, this is the thing you have to do, or something pops up or whatever, or you got a text in a meeting, you're like, oh, now I'm really trying to focus. I can't really think about the things I need to. I had an idea of where I'm going, and now I have to change that completely. Right? Or even things in life where you're, you're going through something, and again, you get kind of taken away by something, like, I don't want to focus on that, but now I am. Or it's like Friday night is fine to, like, hang out and chill and watch a movie, but you ever realize, like, on Tuesday morning, when, like, you get a notification on your phone, and then pretty soon you're, like, just scrolling through ESPN, and, like, time travel, 25 minutes goes by, and you're like, what in the world happened, right? Like, that's, like, people I know happens to them. Never me, right? It's not immediate, but again, you have times you're like, you look up, you're like, how is it 2 a.m. already? Like, could you just keep going from video to video to video, and distractions that you kind of hate, you don't really like, or distractions that keep you from things. And today in our series, we're kicking off talking about fatal distractions because we believe that there are some distractions that can actually be fatal to your life, but it's not always the big, massive things. Sometimes it's the small, subtle things. And for us, really, to begin to understand this is to realize that distractions, they become fatal, because not every distraction is equal, but distractions can become fatal when they have the potential to stop you from being who you were created to be. See, I believe that all of us have value, have purpose in your life. Doesn't matter your age, your demographic, orientation, skin color, whatever. Like, you have value, you have purpose in your life, and you were designed for something great. But there are distractions that can subtly take us away from that. Even I talk about our phones, right? And our phones are great tools. And our phones are, like, not evil or good because they're just an object, right? It's how you use it. But phones are great because you can do all sorts of things. But they also are tough because you can be all over the place, right? And you can jump around. So here's what I want to do. I want to just have you just take out your phone real quick, everybody. If you pull out your phone. Now, I don't know how this works on Android because they're trash. But if you have an iPhone... I mean, and I'm sure every Android person I know is like, I can customize all my stuff on this, and I don't care. We hate your green bubbles, okay? If you have the right phone, do the little reverse 7 real quick to see. I just want to see how many apps you have open on your phone right now. You may not notice. I can actually see you, and I see you're not doing it. So a couple of you, like, this is like, follow along. Okay, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now, this is the most y'all have ever talked in church, I think. Right? Anybody? Okay, I have 9. Anyone have more than 9 open on your phone right now? You raise your hand, okay? We're not going to judge. Anyone have more than 15? Keep your hand. You have more than 20? Okay, more than 25? Oh, sweet baby Jesus. We have more than 30. Anybody more than 30? More than 35. More than 40. Keep your hand up. We're going to surround you and pray for you. Just a minute. You put your hands down. You're probably the people that have like 100 unread messages and 15,000 emails. Everybody, you marry somebody like that. That's not me. And my wife is like, mind your business. Don't worry about my phone. But here's the reality. For so many of us, you have things happen in your life all the time. And this is the thing that's even crazy. If I can take a quick step. It's funny. You don't care how many apps you have running in the background of your phone until your phone starts to slow down and it's not working right. And then you're like, I need to like clear these out and reset this. And I think the same could be true of your life. You have so many things happen in your life, so many distractions that are going on in your life that it doesn't really alert you until something doesn't work out right. And you go, I need to take a second. I need to check this. And what we want to do is we want to help you maybe correct it and reset it or help you prevent it. So I think that's incredibly helpful for you. And here's what happens. With your attention, your intention, like you get distracted when your intention and your attention don't line up. Your intention, simply put, is what you want to do. Right? It's just the things that you want to do, the hopes, the dreams you have for your life, for your family, relational, professional, physical, financial. Like those are the things you intend to do. It's what you want to do. At the beginning of the week, you're like, these are all the things I'm going to accomplish. Like this is your intentions. And most of us have good intentions for our life. Like I haven't met somebody yet that's like, hey, I just hope my life just falls apart by 44. Like I hope I'm like financially like struggling and a dead-end job and the meaningful relationships are going sideways and can't hardly talk to that person anymore that I thought was going to be a person with me for like nobody sets out to have that be their life. But can I tell you, you and I both know that's where a lot of people end up. And what I say real quick is no one ever intended to be there. So why did they get there? It's because their intention and their attention didn't align. See, your intention is what you want to do. Your attention is what you actually do. Like how you spend your time, how you spend your resources. Like you can have all the greatest intentions, but if you don't do the thing, it doesn't really matter that much. And here's the deal with your attention. Your attention, it's actually the depleting resource in your life. Like you don't have unlimited amounts of this. So when you pay attention, we even talk about like currency. When you pay attention to something, you can't really pay attention to the other thing. And we even saw this with our kids in discipline and paying attention to things. It's depleting even when we dropped our kids off at school and they love school and our kids, they're pretty good kids. And it's funny because as they get home, one of our first kids in school, they get home and they are like this monster. And they're doing all these behaviors and acting out. And my wife and I are kind of like, what in the world's going on? Like they love school. They have a great teacher. They like all things. The teacher's like, we love them. They're so great. We're like, okay, it's like something's happening, right? And we talked to some of our friends and they said, it's really common with kids, especially young kids who go to school because they've given all their attention, all their discipline at school, and they come home, they don't have any left. So you kind of get what's left over and the kid needs to reset. But also you see this in your life too. Right? Tomorrow is a Monday, right? Which is we're all going to start our diet tomorrow. But here's the reality for somebody, and if you've done this, and this is what I've done, so maybe you can relate to this a little bit, is I'll start a diet, I'll start a week off, I'm like, we're done with this food or that food, or we're going to like go, it's always after vacation for us. We're like, yeah, we're going to do whatever we want for our vacation. We get home, we're like, all right, we need to tighten up, right? But I'll start the morning, I'll drink a protein shake, I'm feeling great, it's awesome, I'm going to have 3.5 almonds for a snack, and then I'm going to go for lunch, I'm going to have some like plain tuna with 8 ounces of fat-free whatever on my kale salad because I'm a grown-up and I eat things like kale and broccoli and all those things. And then I have a tablespoon of yogurt for my snack after that. And then I get home and I have grilled chicken with no seasoning and plain white rice. And I'm just like locked in, right? And then I put the kids to bed. And then it's like, well, I've really focused all day. I probably should have something. You want to motivate you don't want to be like starved, the earth, So all right, fine, I'll have some salty snack. Then I'm thirsty now, so I need to have a drink with that snack, and then I eat that, and then it's like, well, now I don't want to end on like I want to end with like a sweet thing. So then I got to have some Honey Nut Cheerios, but then you always pour extra milk, so you have to pull another bowl of Cheerios in, right? It's like a never-ending cycle. So the box is gone, and you're like, man, what happened? It's that your attention, your discipline ran out. Like you've paid it to something else. your discipline, your attention are depleting resources. And what we need to do and what is most beneficial for our life is to take our intentions and our attention and align them. Because when you can do that, you can have tremendous growth in your life. I mentioned before, no one ever intends to have a bad life or to have hardship or trauma in their life. And I know even with people in the room and an audience or group this size, I'm like, there are people that you're like, yeah, I'm kind of in that spot right now. Like things did not go according to plan and I'm kind of frustrated, I'm kind of down. And what I want to tell you, what I just want to tell you is there is hope even in the midst of that difficulty. Because I believe God can work in you and in those situations, even though they may not be good and you may never call them good. He can work in those situations. But also you have the power of what you pay attention to. And you can choose to pay attention to something different. And in doing that, you can actually see your life change. And some of you, that's your story. That you had a situation and you changed some big things and it helped you and you moved out of that. And the distraction that was fatal was simply a moment in your life and it didn't define your entire life. But this is the thing for us. When we're looking at our distractions, we're looking at our attention and our intention, that's the key to avoiding fatal distractions. Really, you boil it down, the key to avoiding fatal distractions is to align your attention with your intention. To focus on specific things and to move those things to the center of your attention. And the things that matter most. Because what I know about so many of us is our drift is always to pay attention to things that don't matter so much. And we can have great intentions, but we're actually focused on something else. And then actually there's a story in the scriptures where you see this play out and Jesus is interacting with his family. And I'll tell you, if you like reality TV shows, like you want to be distracted by that, that's like your go-to. Like I love that, all the drama, all the things. Like there's drama in this passage with this family, this dynamic. See, Jesus is growing in popularity, he's growing in notoriety, and he's traveling around. And what was custom is people in cities, they would see Jesus or they'd hear about Jesus and they'd be like, hey, you should come stay at my house. Like, I want to provide for you, I want to help you out. This is also the thing that's crazy, and we don't really even have a context for this, but so much of what happened in Jesus' life was offline, which is crazy right now, because if I do anything, I can post it. You know all the details about all the things, but in Jesus' time, there was no Twitter, there was no Instagram, there was no Facebook, so all these stories were word of mouth. Hey, Jesus did this. Did you hear about this guy, Jesus? Like, it wasn't like everyone knew who Jesus was across the entire region, but as he started to grow and do things, people started to whisper out this guy, Jesus from Nazareth. He's doing stuff. And it's crazy. And he'd travel and people would open up their home and say, Jesus, come stay with me. And one of those people was a lady named Martha. And this is how Luke accounts this story with Jesus as he's coming through. It says, Jesus and his disciples were on their way, and they came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. Again, this is a privilege for Martha. She wants to help him out. I also think, even looking at this in some logical conclusions you can draw from this is Martha was like, she was like a big deal. Like the fact that even the fact that we know her name says something about her. Because if you look through the scriptures, and some of you have, if you look through the account of Jesus' life, there's so many people, we have no idea who their name is. There's some title, there's some whatever, but the fact we know her name, especially being a woman in that time, was like unheard of. Not being a woman, but like knowing a woman's name in that time. You follow me, right? But the fact we know her name, and she opened her home, this isn't just like, hey, Jesus, you can sleep on the cot in the spare room. I didn't have spare rooms. So for her to have Jesus and his disciples, all his followers, like his entourage is coming in. She's saying, I'm going to open up my home and we're going to prepare food for you and you're going to be hosted here and it's going to be great. And she had probably some incredible influence even in her town. And she had a sister, which doesn't say it there, but I think this is the younger sister. Because if you're a younger sibling like I am, then you kind of get this. You'll pick up here. It says, so Jesus goes, he comes there, and then Martha opens up her home, and then she said to her sister, or she had a sister called Mary, younger sister probably, right, who sat at the Lord's feet and listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. See, Martha's doing all the work, getting all the stuff done, figuring everything out, ordering people around. So she came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her to help. Like Martha's literally tattling to Jesus about her sister. But sometimes I think, though, we give Martha a bad rap because we're like, well, Martha just should have focused on Jesus. But here's the deal. Preparing food and accommodations for that many people was a lot of work. Even today, right now, if I said, hey, after this service, my 400 children and my wife and I are going to come over to your house, and we're going to eat lunch at your house. Some of you would be like, great, no worry. Some of you would be like, oh my, I don't know what to do. Oh, this is, and even just hosting like the 6 of us at your house today, it's a significant amount of work. And here's the deal. You have Uber Eats and grocery stores and restaurants. Like, you could order food here and it would beat you to get to your house. And you just take it and unpack it and open it up. Martha didn't have any of that. And to put it in real life terms, like, she is orchestrating this complex project of, hey, you need to go get some animals and slaughter some animals because we need to have some animals to feed our guests, right? And these are like Jesus is kind of, I think he's a big deal. Like, I think he could be a really big deal, so we want to make a good impression. Okay, so get the good ones, go do that. And you need to go get some produce. You need to make some bread. And again, like, you can't pull things out of the refrigerator because there was no refrigerator. So she's doing all this work. I think we can kind of give Mary a break a little bit because, like, that's a lot of work. And also, like, I'm kind of like Martha too in this. Like, if there's stuff that has to get done, like, I will gravitate towards the tasks over the people almost every time. Like, I'm task oriented. Anybody else in the house, you're task oriented. You're like, yeah, I do the thing. You want me to do, like, I'm great at crushing things and I'm good at people. Like, I can do people. I can, like, talk to them. I can be with them. But if we're honest and task oriented people, you will get this. Everybody else is like, sometimes people are the task, right? You're like, I got to go in this meeting. Even in our meetings, like, there are times I have to remind myself, like, slow down and connect with people. Which for some of you people-oriented people are like, what are you talking about? Thought that was the agenda of the meeting. Is to, like, catch up on each other's weekends and talk about things. Like, no, you actually have stuff. Yeah, this is a job. Like, you got to do things. Right, so this would be totally be me. I'd be just like Martha, doing all the things, doing all the work, trying to figure things out. But also, I think the thing here is Martha had good intentions. She's the one who invited Jesus in. She's the one that was like, hey, I want to open up my home and provide for you and your friends because you have nowhere else really to go. I want to do that. Her intentions were good, but her attention went to all the smaller things. Jesus is like, hey, you had good intention to be with me, but you got distracted by all the things you were trying to do for me. I think it's, even for us, a good reminder, especially if you've been following Jesus for a while, especially if you are here and you volunteered at our church. We have hundreds of volunteers. We call them bridge builders because we believe they build a bridge for people to experience life and freedom in Jesus. And they do an incredible job every weekend, whether it's a parking lot or holding babies or playing instruments. Y'all give it up for them real quick. I think that is so, so great. And what I'd say for you is people just like you make a difference every single weekend here through volunteering. And I think you could do it too. And you probably are missing out because you don't hear all the stories and you don't have the impact that you could have. I think you totally should. But one of the dangers of people being so faithful in volunteering and even honestly people working at the church is they get distracted from being with Jesus. They get distracted by doing all the things for Jesus. And this is where Jesus is talking to Martha. He's like, Martha, you get focused on all these things. And this is actually what he says there. He says, Martha, Martha, you're worried and you're upset about so many things. But few things are needed. Indeed, only one. And Mary has chosen what is better and will not be taken from her. And Martha, you focused on good things, but you didn't focus on the best thing. You got caught up in all these things, and it's even interesting the words that Jesus uses to talk to her. It's not, Mary, you are spending so much time, or Mary, it's Mary, you're so worried. You're so upset. You're trying to do so much. To be honest, I think a lot of times that I get worried and upset about the things that I'm doing. It's not about the thing I'm doing. It's because I'm taking and putting my identity in that thing. And I think maybe you're kind of like that too, of like, I'm trying to this thing, I'm trying to achieve this thing, I'm trying to whatever, and you get so worried and so upset, you get so distracted by a thing that's not even a bad thing, but you're putting too much of your attention into that thing. And for some of you, it's at the detriment of the other things that matter more. I know you want to be a great employee, you want to work hard, you want to provide for your family, but pretty soon, somewhere along the line, you started paying more attention to your career than the people in your house. You get all wrapped up because you get praise and you get accolades and you get attaboy and good job at work and it's great, but you come home and it's not that. Or your kids, you really focus on your kids. You're just investing so much in your kids and you put all your attention there. And pretty soon you look around, you're like, I have a roommate that I share a bedroom with. We partner together for our kids, but like our marriage kind of just died out because we haven't given any attention to it. Your relationships, your schooling, you go down the list, there's so many areas where we put so much attention to them, and they're not bad things, but they are bad if they distract us from being who we were created to be and being the people that God calls us to be. See, Jesus, in talking to Martha, he's not talking about her hands, he's talking about her heart. And I think so many of us, we get distracted from the intentions that God has for us. Because you have intentions for your life, hopes, dreams, aspirations, but God also has intentions for your life. And we get distracted from the intentions that God has for us simply because we don't give God a lot of attention. It's kind of an afterthought. It's kind of oh wait, stop eating, don't eat. We need to pray real quick before we eat because we don't want to choke on the food. Hey, and this is why even the last several months we're talking about this all the time is this idea of yes, we're going. It's not a question of if we're going. It's like, yes, we are going to go because we want to pay attention to the things of God and we want to be involved and connected to a body of believers where we can learn and grow together. But can I tell you a secret that you already know? Doing something for 1 hour a week probably isn't going to change your life. Even church. But here's what I believe, and here's what we actually work incredibly focused towards, is that this 1 hour a week will inspire you to pay attention to God the rest of the week. See, it's not just about this hour. It's not just showing up and being here in person or watching online. It's actually engaging and connecting here. This is why if you're coming and you are one of the people, like honestly, like there's a bunch of people in our church like this, that you come in, you kind of intend to come in 5 minutes late. Like, well, the music's on, lights are low, I can get my coffee real quick and get in. And then as soon as like we're praying, you're like, all right, I'm getting myself, I'm gonna run out to my car real quick to get out of here. Like what I'd say is I think that's a good thing, but I don't think it's the best thing. And I would want to challenge you to take some time to connect here and to be here. And that's why we say, yes, we're going. It's not simply the act. And there is a lot of power in the act and the habit of doing something, but also it's greater than that. I don't want you just to be here for 55 minutes and sit down next to people and not say a word to anybody else and walk out to your car. I want you to meet people and to be around people. I want you to be inspired here to pay attention to God through the rest of your week. And then also, I want you to meet people here who will inspire you to pay attention to God. That's why we do things all the time. And again, don't tell everybody else about this. This is just for you guys here, okay? That's why we do things like Sunday Fun Day. That's why we do things like wacky weekends where you're out there, you're coloring socks with your kids, you're getting coffee, you're in the bounce house. And I know this is a crazy idea for some of you. This is like too much maybe. But maybe today when your kids are coloring socks or you're waiting in line for your coffee, you look at someone you have not met and you say, hey, I'm Justin. I don't know if we've met yet. But you say your name, okay? You're around other people and you see something, you go, hey, what's up? I don't know if we've met. You shake their hand. Say, hey, our kids are about the same age. You say hello. You connect with them. You say, can I try a sip of your coffee? Don't do that, okay? Don't do that. That's weird, okay? But have a moment where you look around and you see somebody and you can connect with someone. I'm going to tell you, the reason that we are passionate about this and creating this in our gathering because we believe it has the power to change your life. A friend of mine, she came a while ago and things were going pretty good, and then she stopped coming for whatever reason. And like so many people, they stopped coming for a while, and then she came back and we were talking, and she goes, yeah, I'm here and just kind of going through this rough situation in life. It's a pretty common situation, but pretty rough still. It doesn't take the difficulty out of it. And yeah, I just needed something. I said, well, do you know, I I think it'd be great. We're doing this community event thing where we're just hanging out, trying to help people meet other people. It could be really good for you. You should totally just come out. I know you don't know anybody. I get it, and that's scary, and that's intimidating, especially, I just want to say to you, especially if you're like a single person, massively scary. If you are single and you are coming to church, like I think you might have more commitment to Jesus and being at church than I do. Because I always have my wife and my kids to sit with, but you come in, you're like trying to figure out, so I'm so glad you're here. And I talked to this individual, I said, well, you should just come out and just connect and just meet some people. And they said, okay. And they came out. And they got connected. And I said, knew a little about them. I said, let me connect you with some other people similar to stage of life as you. Because that's the whole first step into getting into a group and to growing with people is that you just relate to someone. I say, hey, can you just meet these people? They're similar stage of life as you. And I go over, and I didn't even know this, but those people had walked through a similar situation, that this difficulty that they were walking through right now. And they start talking, and they say, hey, we're actually part of a group that meets throughout the week, once a week or whatever, and would you want to be part of our group and to connect with them? And said, yeah, absolutely. And they joined this group, and they were given people around them to support them through this difficult situation simply because they showed up and they were willing to take a step. And for you today, maybe your step is just say hi to somebody. There's a lot of things you can focus on, a lot of things you got to run and get to, but don't let those things distract you from what's right in front of you. Because what I know and what I believe is that distractions are fatal, but they're also a thief, where they will take something from you. Again, you see this where you doom scroll for an hour and you're like, where did that hour go? It just stole an hour of your life because you got easily distracted on something, which everyone is in that boat sometimes. The distractions are a thief. And this is what Jesus actually taught about in this context. What he's talking about is people following him or other people coming and trying to get his people to follow some other way. Okay, and in this passage in John 10, it says, Jesus said, the thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy, and I have come that you may have life and have it to the full. Now again, a lot of times like the thief is like, that's the devil, that's Satan. Like, yes, he would be a thief that would steal and kill and destroy, but also I think you can expand that to be a type of person or a type of situation that is trying to lead you away from the way of Jesus. And there are so many things that are easy and at our fingertips that can lead us away from Jesus, and they are a thief. But Jesus said, I want you to come and have a mediocre life. I want you to have a life that's just a little bit better, and like you're up on this side of the dirt, so you're doing good. That's not what he said. Jesus said, I want you to have life to the full. I want you to have a life that you are having and doing what I have designed you to do. Because isn't that when you feel the fullest of life? It's not when you have everything work and everything's great, but when you are doing something, you go, man, this is who I'm supposed to be. This is how I'm created to be. This is all my intentions in life being fulfilled right now. Like that is where life is full. But let me tell you something. Your life is not about you. Your life is about other people. And for us, we have to be careful. We have to be mindful of the distractions around us. Otherwise, they will steal from us and they will destroy things around us, and they have the potential to be fatal. And that's why for us, the key to avoiding fatal distractions is to align your attention with your intention. Slowing down enough to think about, what am I spending my attention on? And does that line up with my intention for my life? And that's what we're talking about over the next few weeks, is how we can do that. How can we can check in some key distractions that almost everyone has difficulty with because they're common and they're subtle, but they can be fatal. So a few questions as we begin this series for you to think about or unpack some of these in the weeks coming. The first question is, what intentions do you have for your life? Like, what are the hopes? What are the dreams? What are the desires you have for your life? What are the things you're like, man, if I could just, I would love, man, that would be so great. What are your intentions? But also I'd say if you're a follower of Jesus, you need to ask a bigger question of what intentions does God have for your life? See, because if I'm honest, there are a lot of times the intentions I have for my life is I want to have a good life. I want to have a nice life. I want to be good for my kids and my family. And those are good intentions. I also have to come to the place of being a follower of Jesus means I follow the way of Jesus. And Jesus lived a life of willingly giving his life up for others. So I have to intersect the intentions I have for my life with the intentions that God has for my life. And I can be a great parent and spouse and provide for my family and take care of them. I also need to be thinking about how God would have me to lay down my life, not just for my wife and my girls, but for other people. People that I don't even know. People that I may never even know. So what intentions does God have for your life? And then the other question you have to ask for all of us, and again, this is, even if you're not a Jesus follower, this is a good question for you to think through, is where do you spend your attention? Like, where are you spending the limited resource you have? For some of us, we get so sidetracked and you get distracted by things that are good things, but they're not the best things. And you would look at your schedule, or I would look at your schedule, and I go, you say these things matter to you, but you spend all your time doing those things. Something doesn't line up. Right? You say your family really matters to you, but this hobby or this addiction or this situation is working actively against you being who you want to be. How can we align those? And I think, for some of you, you might have some big decisions to make. But it's not based on today. It's based on what intention you and God have for your life for the future. And how do you align your attention today with that? See, identifying your distractions will be the first step in aligning your intentions with your attention. That's what we're talking about over the next few weeks. I would love for you to ask these questions and then come back next week as we talk about that. Let's pray. Jesus, thank you for being good to us. God, for wanting us to have a full, God, a fulfilling life. I ask that we would trust you in what that looks like, and trust you that you have our good at heart. God, even this week as we are thinking through our intentions for our life, God, I pray that you would give us wisdom in that and choosing some of the right things, God, some of the best things for us, but also that we would think about you and what intentions you have for our life, and God, also that you would give us clarity on where we're spending our attention. And God, that we could have wisdom to make good choices with our attention. We love you. In your name we pray. Amen.